This is my song, I'ma get up, yeah, yeah. You got me humming.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is kind of not as exciting as usual because I wasn't planning on filming a video today, but something at work happened to me today and it really ticked me off to the point where it was all bottled up, and I told my parents about it and they just said I needed to let it go and move on, and I knew I had to, but I don't think I could have done that unless I made a video about it because I've never really done this before, but I kind of wanted to. I felt like I needed to. But this is going to be technically my first ever story time video. I don't know. So yeah, this is my story of the rudest customer I've ever dealt with. So if you guys want to hear about this and share your thoughts, keep watching. Okay. So basically what happened was, it was a really busy day for us at work because we had a massive super draw, which is what they call it here when you've got a massive lotto going on. And basically the lotto was at 70 million, so there's lots of people, it's just complete madness. So we had literally like 2 full lines of people and they were all like lined up ready to, and they were all happy to wait. Like they understood we were doing the best we could. Obviously with 2 staff members it's kind of hard to serve everyone at once, as most of you would probably know. So I was just serving all the people that I could, and a lot of people like looked and noticed this man that walked in, and he just seemed a bit off, and he walked straight in and he was kind of like jittery and walking around a lot, and then he was like ticked off within the first 2 minutes, I think, where most people were waiting for at least 10 minutes already. So he just stormed out and made a massive scene about it, and it didn't need to be like a big deal. Like we were getting to people slowly but surely, and then a lot of other people noticed it, and we kind of just ignored it and kept going with what we had to do. So we did that, and about 10 minutes later everyone had cleared out and we'd done everything, and there was probably 2 customers in the store, and I was serving this man, and after I'd finished with him I saw this man come back and I remembered him from before, so I was like, "Hi sir, how you going?" And he was like, "Don't call me sir, I'm not a sir." And I'm like, okay, whatever. Like I just say sir or ma'am to everyone, like then just being polite, like I'm not being condescending or anything like that. And anyway, so then I was like, what can I do for you? But before that, he'd thrown something in the bin really hard, and there was an elderly lady standing right where it was, and I think it hit her, and I wasn't even sure what it was, so I saw that she was like confused and in pain by it, so I looked at her and I was like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "Yeah." And then he gave me this weird look, and I'm like, okay. And it was just something so off about this guy. Anyway, so after that I was like, "Can I help you with something?" He's like, "Are you qualified?" And I'm thinking, would I be here if I wasn't? Anyway, then I was like, okay, so I just waited, and he gave me a ticket that he wanted to get checked, I'm assuming. So I grabbed it and I put it through the machine, and I was like, okay. And he walked off to get whatever he threw in the bin, and then he came back with a really crunched up coupon with his own numbers filled out to put through for that night. So I was like, okay. So I was like, "Oh, also you've won $14.65 or whatever it was." And he was like, "I know." And I'm like, okay, thinking in my head, you didn't have to act like that, like that's childish, whatever. And I was like, okay. So I grabbed this ticket, and it was so crunched up that it wouldn't go through the machine and the barcode wasn't working. So I like put it on the bench and started to flatten it out, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm just flattening out the ticket." And he's like, "Ugh." And then he walked off, and he was walking around the front of the store, and it's just so weird to watch. He was just completely out of it and was just walking around and pacing and just shaking his head at everything, and like he was completely mad at the world. And I'm like, dude, chill. Anyway, so I put it through and it finally worked, and I went over and he said something to me. He like mumbled something, and I said, "Sorry, what was that? Did you say you wanted a crossword?" Because it sounded like crossword. And he's like, "I don't know, did I?" And I'm like, "I have no idea, that's why I'm asking." He's like, "You should know." And like just gave me this really stern look, and I'm like, "Are you serious, guy? Like seriously, stop treating me like this." And he was just like being so condescending and rude to me, and I did not need this. Like I was having such a busy day, I was completely stressed already. But anyway, I continued to serve him. I was being as polite as I could. I had my boss right behind me. I was being polite, like I wasn't being condescending to him in order for him to give it back to me. So I would completely understand if that was the case, but it wasn't. And I've never had someone this rude to me before though, and it was so bizarre, and lots of other people were noticing it and like seeing that it wasn't right. And I was like, what's happening? My boss didn't say anything, and I was hoping that he kind of would take over because of this guy being so rude. But anyway, didn't happen. So I continued to serve him, and I said, okay, with your wind taken off and your crossword, I was like, can I scan that? Because he went to grab it. So I scanned it and did that, and then in the end, with his winnings and everything, it wasn't enough to cover the amount. So I was like, okay, that's $5.60 or whatever it was. And he looked at me in like I don't know, it was a really stern look again, and I was like, I'm not sure if he heard me. So I was like, that's $5.60, and he's like, yeah, I know. And then he just shuffled through his wallet and got out some money and grabbed his $10 note out, and I went to like grab it, like I just put my hand out, and he just chucked it at me, and I was like, okay. So I picked it up, just put a smile on my face, and he was like giving me a look like as if, why are you smiling? And then grabbed his change and gave it to him, and as I went to hand it to him, I went like this, and his hand was here, and then I dropped it, and he went like that, and I'm like, okay, and all his change just completely like shattered on the bench and made this massive noise that everyone turned and looked, and he just made a huge scene out of it and didn't need to be done. Like, I was like, what is wrong with you? And he was just so rude, and then I was like, oh, sorry, and he's like, yeah, you should be. And I'm like, he said sorry just to be polite, like, you moved your hand, you were being dramatic, what the heck? And he was just continuously rude, and as he was walking out of the store, he chucked his rubbish over the bench at me, like all his old lotto tickets that I said, would you like me to chuck them out? I asked him, and he's like, no. And then he continued to walk, and halfway out the store, throw them back at me, and then continue to walk out and hit some elderly people on the way out. Literally barged through them, and then was shaking his head out the door. Now, I'm sorry. I do not understand why people have to go into someone's place of work, treat them like absolute shit, then continue to disrespect me and my boss and also the other customers in the store. It was not needed. It was absolutely uncalled for. I really wanted to make this video to get it off my chest because I didn't want to bottle it up and get all my anger up and be all dramatic and everything like that. So I thought, why not make a video, because I've never done this and it feels so good. Trust me, if you wanted to do a story time video but you're not sure, definitely do one because it feels so good. So that was my first story time video. I'm sorry for rambling. I'm sorry for just slurring my words and just completely making absolutely no sense. I just really think I needed to get this out there and get it off my chest because I needed to. Like, as I said, that's really helped me. I feel a lot better now. I feel a lot better. So I hope you guys enjoyed my little rant and my video, and I will see you next time.
Beat up the drum to the rhythm, yeah, yeah. You're